Well, good morning, everyone. 19th of December, and I reckon everyone will be thinking about Christmas now for sure. Probably people already leaving work for their break, Christmas, New Year break, and so on. We're actually, as a team and as a fleet and so on, all thinking the same. We've got one boat out there still racing, and Explorer and Stern are still heading towards New Zealand, making reasonably good time, keeping up with the averages and so on, which is good. Translated 9 is up on the slip. They're going to be there here in Auckland. They're going to be there until probably it'll be the 8th of January before we see them back on the marina at Jellicoe Harbour. They've got plenty of things going on there, and Galliana have also asked for permission to slip the boat. They've got a couple of things they need to do, so they might be up for about a week. They're just coordinating that now. Everyone else is pretty busy generally. You know, most of the boats look at doing something like a 1 week of quick work, you know, get it all done, get it sorted. So they've got a perspective to see that, yes, they are nearly ready, you know, except for the last week of preparation before they go. And then they can head out on a holiday and a relax and family and friends. Some people are flying back to Europe, but most people are sending out family and friends to New Zealand to have a holiday over the Christmas period, which is pretty cool. Great place, New Zealand. And we've got some banners up on the marina, but we're still waiting for our flags and our main banners and bits and pieces. So, and I think they're coming today. But anyway, if you're in New Zealand, you can come down and just check out the boats. There'll always be someone around. So that's an interesting opportunity. It's also getting close to Jane's birthday. Being Chinese, she has 3 different dates for a birthday. She's not here now still. Anyway, so that'll be fun. And we're enjoying Netflix. I actually watched a movie last night. We don't live with a TV back in France, and the apartment here's got Netflix movies. So I think we'll be watching movies over Christmas, New Year, because we'll still be connected to the office. Okay, but generally the whole team, after our welcome party on the 23rd of December, we shut down the office from the 23rd of December till the 6th of January. So the office shut down, but Jane and I will be around. You know, we're here sort of coping with that. But some of the team are going on holidays and all that sort of thing as well. So and I'll still keep up with a little bit of social media while it's coming. And we'll do updates now on an irregular basis, tracker updates here. We'll keep on every day until White Shadow gets in, and then after that, it'll be every few days. We'll tell you what's going on with Explorer and Sterner until they get here, and that's looking positive at the moment. I think both of them will be in before the restart, so that's kind of good as well. Anyway, let's go look at the tracker and we'll show you what's happening. The first thing that stands out here, which is really surprising, it's just quite amazing. Here's the Southern Ocean from Cape Town all the way across to Cape Horn, and there's nothing. There's no typical Southern Ocean, excuse me, high and low pressures. You know, there's a high pressure, but usually here's the coast of Antarctica. Usually there's low pressures all through here. The Southern Ocean is quiet. It's really quite surprising. You very rarely see it like this. And you probably heard the comments from the entrants talking about, we didn't get the big storms and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not complaining, believe me. But they're not complaining, but they said, would have been that's part of the anticipation. They gear up for the big storms. And by big storms, I'm talking about seas that are anything above 10 meters, and they're quite common in the Southern Ocean, and winds up around sustained winds up around 50 knots rather than gusting to 50. And by sustained, I mean it can blow 50 knots for days and gusting up to 60, 70, 80 knots. I've seen that numerous times. And even in my BOC, when we were down here, a bunch of us got caught in a huge storm, which was moving at an average speed as the same as the boats. We were averaging about 8 knots, doing 180-mile days, 200-mile days. And we couldn't get out of it for about 8, 9, 10 days, I think it was. And the seas grew to well over 20 meters. They were these are the hills and the valleys, and there was components of that were breaking. I got rolled 360, and another boat, Australian boat, Kangaroo Birtles, got rolled 360, but he sat upside down for 10 minutes, and the only reason he came up again because water was leaking in the boat, and then that created a free surface area effect where the boat becomes unstable, and another wave came along and knocked him up the right way. Another boat, Josh Hall, broke his boom, had already had a pre-existing injury, a dislocated knee, and we were just getting hammered coming towards Cape Horn. So, if anything, I'd say then reflecting on the stories of many of my friends who are earlier solo circumnavigators who were going around in the 70s and the 80s and 70s and 80s, this is the sort of weather they were getting back then, all right, where you'd get an average 35 knots, 40 knots, and occasionally it'd gust up to 50, but none of the big, huge, or not, I shouldn't say none, but not as many big storms as we've seen in the Golden Globe race and a few other situations in recent years. And certainly I've done, 20 seasons in Antarctica, sailing back and forwards here from New Zealand down into the Ross Sea, sometimes 3 transits a year, spent 3.5 years of my life down there, sailing with weather experts, that we'd have on board and they're weather specialists, and they're statistically proven that the weather is getting worse in the Southern Ocean. It's getting windier, and it's getting more challenging, more intense, smaller storms going through. It's a scientific fact. But for whatever reason, this year is following on a little bit from last year. We had the Golden Globe race in 22, where the storms were still there, but they were a lot further south. The low pressure systems were coming through down in the 50s and the 60s rather than up here in the 40s. So the Golden Globe fleet went through pretty comfortably as well. But here we're just seeing it's just relatively benign. I think, it's just an interesting phenomenon. I'm not going to make any predictions that, the weather's getting back to the way it used to be, but certainly we're in a cycle for whatever reason where it's pretty, settled, which is a good thing. And, whilst the entrants themselves are saying, we're missing that, we hoped we were going to get plastered. From an organiser's perspective, I'm quite comfortable with that deal. And now you can see here, the next leg, usually in a non-stop race, everyone's sailing through down here and so on. But we're starting up high in Auckland, and then they'll slowly make their way down south. We have a couple of waypoints here in the 50s once again to keep them reasonably up there, and then they can slowly work their way down and around Cape Horn. And we'll be leaving on January the 14th, which is perfect timing. We'll be down here in middle of summer. So let's wait and see what happens. But it's potentially usually not as severe as that first leg. The second leg from Cape Town, where normally this weather system's converging from everywhere, and it's a tough one. But so far, so good. Explorer and Sterner are still down there. Let's have a look at where they are and what they're doing here. So here we go. Sterner's fairway south, 47.59 south. So it's literally 48 south. It's the furthest south of any of the fleet in this area because we sent them up around the waypoint. Excuse me. For safety reasons, but they've decided to carry on down low, shortens the distance and keeps the breeze going because, there's not a lot of breeze up top. And in fact, I just see the latest one here, Explorer's flattened out. We suggested they came down to 45, and they're on 45.18 south. I just sent them another one this morning telling them, they can keep going down to 46. I better come on to the real-time weather. Come down to 46 because there's some light winds ahead. So Explorer doing 8 knots, 153 nautical mile a day, not too bad. Sterner is doing 5.6 knots, a little bit softer there after that northwester. Did 155 nautical mile a day, so they're pacing each other. But when I look at the distances, if we go first for Explorer, she's less than 3,000 miles. So she's 2,866 miles to the finish. Now, as a rule of thumb, if they can't make 1,000 miles a week, there's something going wrong. So that's suggesting to me that Explorer should be into Auckland at least a week before the restart on January the 14th. And that would also then suggest to me that they will restart with the fleet. Touch wood. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. But you can always get bogged down in the Tasman with big high pressure and some slow sailing up around the top of Cape Reinga, but right at the top of New Zealand, the North Island. But generally, I would now start to suggest that Explorer should get there on time for a week of servicing, and there's not much repairs. They've got a few little things to do to the generator on board and a few electrical things with the Watt&C. But I'm hoping now that we will see Explorer restart with the fleet on 14th of January. Sterner, pretty much the same. Only getting 3,265. It'll depend on what's dealt with them on the weather, but there's every expectation that she will arrive before the restart on January the 14th, and hopefully there's not major works to do. So they too should have a realistic expectation of starting. So that's good news. And I didn't want to start getting into that opportunity until we saw them basically under Cape Leeuwin here at the bottom tip of Australia. It's not too bad to start talking about that now. I'm always go on the conservative side rather than the other. Rather than say, oh yeah, they can make it. Let's wait and see till they get across the Indian Ocean, and that's what's happened now. Going forward with them for the weather, if we look at what's going on, there's this sort of mixed up, sort of a high center of a high. It's a big one, very benign situation where there's not much wind, and you can see Explorer's going to be sitting in a bit of that. Sterner's right on the edge of it, so Sterner may start to gain on Explorer a little bit if she can hold this position. That's on the 19th. So it's in about 24 hours. And then moving along, it starts to come through. So Explorer's got, maybe a day of light stuff. Then Sterner's going to get a bit of a push, but Explorer comes down a little bit. They've got plenty of breezes. This is 45, so that's the roaring 40s. This is 50, down furious 50s. If Explorer comes down, because the next one is also going to go quiet here. So you can see there, if they come down one more degree, they'll be down here and they might miss this little center. Sterner's going to have plenty of breeze. Nothing they can't handle. It's just sort of like 30 gusting 40, 45, and all looking pretty good. This is of 24th, 25th. By then, they'll be progressing right here along the Tassie. You can't miss a wind trough like this. There's no wind there. They're both going to experience that. But if we go through to about, say, the 27th, and by then they'll be at least, that's about a week ahead. So a week ahead of there, Explorer's going to be 1,000 miles ahead. So Explorer's going to be underneath, heading towards the bottom of Tassie. Sterner back here. No storms, just good Southern Ocean sailing. So we'd expect them to have a nice, relaxed week and enjoy the ride. So that's the story for these two. And it will be a very exciting day if they arrive a week before the start. And I think they probably will and should. But here's what happens in the Tasman. You've seen what happens with the big high there. White Shadow sat in that for a day or two, went really slow. So they've lost ground on the rest of the fleet. And now they're still only doing 4.1 knots, 120-mile day. This is a whole different weather system in the Tasman, and it gets tactically different. But we can give Sterner getting regular weather reports from their team. They've got open communications. They can use their GPS if they want to. But I think they're still sailing under sextant because they enjoy that. And they're not in the rankings for this one. That's more or less a delivery back to Auckland, but they'll certainly be in the hunt once they get to Auckland and join the fleet. So for White Shadow, we'll just pick up on this and see what's likely to happen. You can see there's very little wind, and it's going to move around a bit. They've still got 334 miles to the finish. That could take them 3 days if they're going slow, and it's already the 19th. But they will be there for the party on the 23rd. So we'll look forward to that, touch wood. And let's just kick this weather forward. See what's forming. I'll bring this back one more time. I haven't spoken about the boats that just arrived, by the way, but I will at the end of this. So then they've got some headwinds. So they're going to have to punch through a bit of this. It's light headwinds. It's probably 10, 15 knots. Be quite smooth seas. Nothing to shout home about. but it's going to slow them down a little bit, and then it's going to increase by then. 20th, they'll be around the corner by then. They're only 125 miles to Cape Reinga. So by the time the wind starts increasing from that's the east-northeast, they should be starting to get around the corner, but it could take them, excuse me, it could take them 24 hours to get that in before they then turn the corner. And let's see what happens then. It's going to be a reach, but it's light. So the wind will be on their port beam, and they'll be sailing down the coast in very light winds through it's the 1922. Boy, yeah, it's going to be a slow trip for them coming down the coast. Be behind them, be beautiful. The sun will be shining. They'll have spinnakers up, but it's going to be slow. It's going to be slow all the way. And then there's very little wind if this forecast holds true. Very little wind down into Auckland. So they've got a real drifter, and I wouldn't be surprised if they use up close to 3 days. So if I had to give an ETA on Sterner, today is what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I reckon we might not see them until sometime on Friday. It's going to be very slightly on the nose here, get around the corner, light winds. It'll be Thursday or Friday. Let's hope it's Thursday. So that's pretty much about it. Now we'll just have a bit of a discussion on the IRC situation. We're just about catching up. You can see where the leaderboard was for line honours. If I bring this up here now. Where it goes green on the leaderboard, it means it's settled. So translated 9 are absolutely line honours winner and handicap winner, which is a pretty cool trophy and pretty cool position to be in right now. We will shortly or soon come up with an overall combined result from both legs of the race, so you can see when they're halfway through where they're sitting on handicap, as well as the other tail enders once they get in. So Triana, to about, was it 1 day and 14 hours or something, 14, 15 hours. I'm just not doing all the calculations, just to give you a grab. So Triana are sitting in a really good position. Spirit of Helsinki, 44 days, 10 hours. So holding third in this leg for IRC. Maiden were fourth, just 1 hour and 20 odd minutes behind. So that was close. They very close indeed. Penjuic now holding fifth, so she jumped up a couple because Galliana took a little bit longer to get here than they had hoped. Slow approach and everything compared to Penjuic. So Galliana took out sixth position in IRC, and 10 hours behind that is Evrika. So that's pretty interesting. And L'Esprit de Keep holding eighth position IRC, 46 days, 1 hour, and 6 hours behind that is Neptune. So they're still holding slightly ahead of Neptune. And Neptune did pretty well considering they had to go back to South Africa to sort out their steering problems. So all fun. And then Outlaw didn't do so well this time they compared to the first leg, but still holding 10th, a day behind Neptune. White Shadow still out there, still going, 15. They're going to hold that. They'll be 11th, and Explorer's way back. Interestingly, on IRC, we go to estimated finishing time. They're saying about the 7th of January for Explorer and about the 9th of January for Sterner. That would be fantastic if they can manage that. But that'll be completely up to the gods, because the Tasman can change everything. When they get to the Tasman, that'll let's see what happens. But at least we'll be able to give them some forecasting and give it the best shot they can. So that's it for today. I'm not sure how many people will be here, but I'll just come back and see who is here. And as I say, when I'm doing the trackers now, it'll either be 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the evening. That's generally the way it'll go, and it'll become random now. We'll do every day while White Shadow's coming in. Then after that, it'll be random, just to keep family and friends up with it and see what's happening. Well, good morning. I hope you got some sleep. Yep, sure did. Last night was pretty cool. I think everyone did. Sorry about yesterday. We didn't do a tracker at all yesterday because it was just too crazy. We had so much going on. We didn't get much sleep all night, with Tapio coming in, and then yes, they were busy doing all the champagnes and setting up some things and chasing banners and stuff and picking up things. And anyway, we're sort of pretty organised now and look forward to Christmas like everyone else. Evening from Ireland. Hi, Ian. Well, the main part of the fleet is tied up. Will you be able to cover some of the quayside chat about repairs, provisions, equipment? So, yeah, we will. What will happen is, in fact, today we'll just do a dock work on and do a live probably in fact, we're hoping to do the Neptune champagne. This whole thing with the customs quarantine berthing is challenging to keep the emotion flowing, but it's critical for the security of New Zealand. So when the boats move onto the quarantine dock, we really can't do the champagne, and no one's allowed on the dock except for absolute minimum staff. There's an agent, so we can usually have a maximum of 2 of our team there to help with lines. That's it, and then everyone else has got to be away until we get customs. They're doing a great job, customs, immigration, all that. And then once that's done, they can move over to the marina, and we do it as a ceremony more than anything. And Neptune have been really busy, so it's been hard to coordinate. We've tried about 4 times so far, but I think it's on today about 12 o'clock local time. And then occasionally we'll go down and do just see what's happening on the dock. We'll just run a live, walk down boat to boat, say good day, and let you know what's happening. And we'll do that. We'll do one of those today. And then over the Christmas New Year break, I think most of the marina will, most of the entrance will be away, but we'll, occasionally when there's something happening, we'll just take some photos, do a photo gallery or something, and just see what's going on. So I look forward to that. But yeah, all our team will be gone. Jane and I will be here, so we'll be doing that. And we'll be watching Netflix movies as well and eating cheap and drinking, not drinking alcohol, drinking liquids, Yeah. Happy for Explorer. Yeah, g'day, Annie. Hope you're having well. Merry Christmas, all that sort of stuff over there. That pate looks pretty good. I shouldn't talk about that, but anyway. Who got stuck in the mud in the harbour? That was translated, got stuck in the mud. And you can see it on the live. If you go back, all the lives that we do, all the approaches, if you're a Facebook fan, it's all available on YouTube. It's in a historical file. You can just go to all the lives and you can go back and you can relive the arrival of each of the boats, relive the frustrations of Galliano with Secure. That was a nightmare. Anyway, hi, Nigel. Evening from Plymouth, afternoon from NC. Has translated gone to another berth? Yeah, they're around over the other side, over at a marina and shipyard there where they're getting all the work done. The team's working pretty hard there. Their team is off, and this is not uncommon. They'll be away from later this week for about a week or so. The whole of New Zealand basically shuts down from the end of this week until January the 5th. They all go to their batches. A batch is what we call in Australia a shack. They're holiday shacks, or they have camper vans, or they have boats. The marina there at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron is chock-a-block. It's one of the it held the claim as the biggest marina in the Southern Hemisphere, and now I think there might be one bigger. But it's huge, full of boats, and probably 2/3 of those boats will all disappear. They'll all start leaving later this week and go out everywhere else but here. So kind of fun. Look forward to chat with Tapio. Yeah, we'll be doing interviews as well, and we're going to try and catch up on the boat tours and the technical photo file, which we never got to do in Cape Town because it was all compressed. Our time was compressed, but here we've got a little bit more time, so we will get onto that later on. Okay, that's about it. So have a good Christmas pre-planning session. Look after yourself, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks.